והנה, האור זה מספשט בסוף החלון הזה, נחלק לשתי בחינות. Okay, now the or, the light, that goes inside this hollow, inside the tzimtzum, is divided into two types, two aspects. האחד היא, כי הנה כל האור שבתוך זה החלו, הוא מוכח שיהיה בחינת סיגולים, אלו בסוף אלו. One of the types, one of the aspects, is that every single light that's inside this hollow, inside the tzimtzum, הוא מוכח שיהיה בחינת סיגולים, אלו בסוף אלו, must be in this form of עיגולים, one inside the next, like we're going to explain. והמשל בזה, או ספירס הכסר, הוא עיגול אחד, ובסופו עיגול אחר, והוא ספירס חוכמה. וכן הדרך זה התשלום 10 עיגולים שם 10 ספירוס תאריך. ואחר כך בסופם 10 עיגולים אחרים והם 10 ספירוס דאבא אלו בסוף אלו. So, for example, when we're speaking about the spheres of Igulim, we're speaking about a sphere which is one inside the next, like the rings of an onion. For example, here, with the sphere of Kesser, the sphere of Kesser is one sphere, and inside the sphere of Kesser there's another sphere called Chachma, like one other ring, and similarly until Bina and Chesed, Das, Chesed, and then Gvura, Netzach, Yesod, Tiferes, Netzach, Yesod, and all the spheres until you have 10 spheres. Those 10 spheres would be the 10 spheres of Arich, which is one of the Partzufim. We're going to discuss what that is later. But it's enough for us to know right now that each one of these Partzufim, each one of these spheres really have 10 spheres inside of them. And these 10 spheres are divided into two types. One is called the type of Igulim, which is circles, one circle inside the next. And another type of sphere is a different form. We're going to see later what that form is. But this form is one circle inside the next. Each partzuf, which we're going to discuss what that is later, has 10 spheres. And each one of the partzufim has 10 of these spheres, one inside the next. Until you have all the 10 spheres of all the different partzufim. Each partzuf has 10 spheres. And each one of these have the aspect of Igulim, and the aspect of Igulim is one circle inside the next. Atzim prote kula Atzilus, until all of the details of Atzilus are finished. V'chen, v'lachol igul me'elu, yesh or makif elav, igul gamken kamosa, v'nimtza, sheyesh or pnim v'or makif v'kulim b'chinas igulim. And each one of these circles each one of these igulim also have two b'chinas. A b'china of an aspect of or pnimi, which is the internal light, an aspect of or makif, which is surrounding light. We're going to see later that the makif is a higher b'china, a higher aspect than the or pnimi in general. So each one of these igulim have two aspects. We said the basic spheres break down to two aspects. One is the circle to have the spheres, which is one inside the next. Another one is a form we're going to see later, which is one kind of standing on top of the next instead of one inside the next. And even within each of these two aspects, they could be divided into another two types of aspects, which is or pnimi or makif, whereby the circles also it looks like circles, but or pnimi or makif is not the same as the igulim. Even though makif does surround like a circle, it's not the same as an igul b'chal. It's not at all connected. An igul, one circle inside the next. The outer circle is higher, also by the makifim. But in general, a makif is much higher than the orpemi, whereas igulim, with regards to the other aspect, is much lower. So igulim is a lower aspect, whereas makif is a higher aspect. ובחינה שנייה היא, כי הנה באמצע כל האצילוס הזה, היו לנספשת דרך קו ישר, בבחינת אור. דוגמס עיגול ממש, רק שהוא ביושר. The other aspect is the aspect of yosher, where the partzufim are not one inside the next. The spheres are not one inside the next. Rather, they're one on top of the next and one to the right or to the left of the next. Where they have this form, which is the form that we see in all many of the Kabbalah's form with all the circles right, left, and center, the different columns, and they all have different circles. They make up 10 spheres. So this picture is a picture of Yosher, this is what we call this form of spheres Yosher. And really the spheres of Yosher are much higher than the spheres of Igulim. And these spheres of Yosher also have aspect of Pnimi and Makif, where the Pnimi is the internal light and the Makif is the surrounding light of each one of these spheres, which stand B'Yosher. The Makifim here are also much, much greater than the Pnimim. So, just to recap very simply, we have two aspects. We have of spheres of Igulim and spheres of Yosher. The spheres of Igulim is a much lower aspect in relation to the sphere of Yosher. Sphere of Igulim, its form is one inside the next, like rings of an onion. And sphere of Yosher is one on top of the next, and one to the right or to the left of the next, or one to the center. And also, each one of these two aspects also have another two aspects, which is or Pnimi, which is internal light, which is usually the lower and lower aspect, and or Makif, which is a surrounding light, which is a higher aspect. And we have these five Patzufim, which we also have in the Igulim. We have these aspects of Arichampin, Abba, V'ima, Zerampin, Nukva, which are all Patzufim. They're aspects which are made up of 10 spheres, which we're going to learn about with their details later. And there are five, and these are the basic five. Their names are Arichampin, Abba, Ima, Zerampin, and Nukva. But Kulam B'Yosher, and each one of these Patzufim are also, we have them in Yosher, in the form of an upright structure. And in this second Bechina, the Bechina of Yosher, in that Bechina, the man, human being, is called Tzelem Elokim, because we don't look like onions or like balloons one inside the next. We look like standing upright. We have a right side of our body, we have a left side of our body, and we have a center part of our body. And we have a top and we have a bottom. Circles don't have any of those. So we were created in this form. Now really here there's something very important to understand, that the spheres of Yosher, which we're speaking about, which we see these pictures, one circle inside, one circle next to the next, one to the right, one to the left, one to the center, and some on top and some on the bottom. That's really not, it's really not a correct type of picture. It's just a simplification of the form of a man, where we see Chachma, Bina, and Das, or Keser, Chachma, and Bina. These are just aspects of the head, the right or left center, part of the brain. Chesed and Gevurah is the right arm and the left arm. And really, if a person were to want to draw it properly, he could draw the form of a body. He would draw for Chesed, instead of drawing a little circle on the right, he would draw an arm, and for Gevurah he would draw another arm, and for Tiferes he would draw the body, and for Netzach he would draw the right and left center, the right and left leg. There are a number of problems with this, even though this is the real form of the let's say the visualization, of physical visualization of the spheres. There are a number of serious problems with it. One is that we don't want to get into Chas v'Shalom thinking that any of this is physical. There's nothing here that's physical at all. Nothing, any of these lights, there's certainly no light up in Shamayim, no physical light, and there's no tzimtzum, there's no void of light, there was no light, there's no physical tzimtzum. All these things are speaking about totally, absolutely spiritual things. We aren't speaking about anything physical in any way, shape, or form. The thing is that our body, our physical body, was created in the form which resembles in a moshel, in a type of allegory type of form, or a riddle. It represents a physical aspect. Really, there's no right arm or left arm up in Shemayim, but there is an aspect, there is a light or a spiritual concept or spiritual form, a spiritual power, which does represent, which would relate to the right arm or to the left arm in a body. So we were created in that image. This is called the image of man. And this is Dafka specifically in the Yosher, where we see the right, left, and center. And this is a very important thing we're going to see throughout all the Sifrei Kabbalah, all the Eitz Chaim. We're going to see it very, very important. We're trying to bring a perfection of this form up in Shemayim. We're going to see later what that really means. But this understanding of the form of man, the perfected form of man, is very, very important. And we were created originally in that in that form. We have 10 basic parts of our body, 10 basic, also our neshama is also broken up into these 10 different aspects, and they're not physical at all, they're spiritual, but understanding this is very, very important. Okay, we're going to continue, we'll just finish this piece here. Because the form of man is a kav yosher, or a number of kavim, right, left, and center, which spreads out through lines, meaning with the right line, the left line, and the center line. And all the Sefer Tikkunim don't speak about anything but this form of yosher. They don't speak almost at all about the igulim. One of the, as we're going to explain later on, one of the very important aspects of igulim and yosher is that yosher has a right, left, and center. It has a distinction between kindness, which is the right, and strength or power or harshness, which is the left, and a mitigation of the two, a balance of the two, which is the center. So this we specifically find by the yosher, by the form of man. We have something which is higher, and we have something which is lower. We have something which is kindness, which is the right side. We have something which is harshness, which is the left side, and we have a balance of the two. So when we, for example, do an avera, so Hashem punishes us, this comes out from the left side. Although Hashem does not have a left arm, it comes out through, we call it him acting through his left arm to hit us or to punish us. So this aspect is something which we do find distinction with the way Hashem relates to us. So this is the aspect of yosher, which we don't find by igulim. Igulim is all equal in all sides. Hashem relates to us equally. When we do kindness, he's not relating to us with any more left side than with right side, with regards to the igulim. Whereas when we do averos or mitzvahs, he can choose to act through us kindly through his right side to give us chesed, if we do mitzvahs, and if we do averos, to give us gevurah, to act with us in a more harsh way. So this is another aspect of the difference between the right, left, and center, meaning the harshness, kindness, and a balance between the two, and what we find by the igulim, which has no distinction. It's right and left is not really a right and left. It's up and down is not really up and down, except for what we did see before that has a kav, and this kav distinguishes the top and bottom. But the etzem, the igulim themselves, don't have such a distinction, whereas the yosher does have a distinction. So we are more interested in avoda, in what it means when we serve Hashem, what it means Hashem does kindness or does harsh things to us. And this is more what we focus on. This is more what the Arizal focuses on in almost all places, and more what the Tikkunim, what the Zohar, and the Sefer Tikkunim focuses on in almost every single place. Okay. You should know that in this Atzilus there are an infinite amount of worlds. And we're not going to explain these infinite amount of worlds right now. In the Atzilus here means in the Tzimtzum, in all the Tzimtzum. But we're going to explain one aspect which includes all of this void, all of this tzimtzum. It's going to explain everything about the tzimtzum. And from this aspect which we're going to explain, which is Adam Kadmon, it's all the different aspects that we're going to learn about come from it. As we're going to explain, this is the concept of the Metzius of Adam Kadmon, the parts of the Olam of Adam Kadmon. And afterwards, all the Olamos and all the spheres of Partzufim are going to come afterwards.